This is Spoken by Elswith, a Femdom Hypnosis podcast, Season 4. Today is Season 4, Episode 74. And today I'm going to give you a free obedience session. During it, you're invited to assume the humble position. So that is going to require some privacy. If you're unfamiliar with the position or just forgot, that's fine. I will lead you through it. But first, I want to thank 3 lovely listeners for their gifts. The first one is a mystery man with a smile who sent a gorgeous charm of the 4 elements. It's strikingly different, and that's why I added it to my wish list. Plus, it does look gorgeous on my charm bracelet. Another charm came as well, so thank you to R for the Making Wishes Dandelion charm. I am hillbilly enough that my pappy, yes, I have one of those, he would make dandelion wine and would literally pay all of us kids, like the cousins and such, to go around collecting dandelions. He probably thought it was worth it for the wine and for the peace and quiet. Also, thank you to R for the Zelda game. I am really looking forward to that one, and no spoilers from anyone. I am a pretty slow gamer for those kinds of things. I'm usually the type to head to the great outdoors and read, relax, or whatever. But with some upcoming long train trips, it's going to be fantastic to have the Switch and throw on the headphones and just relax with a game. And speaking of games, I also need to send out a thank you to A. Now, this might stir up a bit of controversy if you have an opinion on it, but I swear that the Pikmin flower dudes, they are the cutest things that Nintendo has come up with. If you want to argue with me, go ahead, but you're probably wrong. Probably. So, if you would like to offer a tribute or just browse through my wish list, you can go to spokenbyelswith.com or follow the links in today's episode notes. So, on to the session news. As you know, only the sessions tame enough for YouTube and the podcast make it on here. The other stuff, it is on the website, and that does include 5 new deep repetition sessions. Now, one of them is going to make it over to here onto the podcast, but there are all 5 of them over there on the website. The feedback is fantastic on them, so keep the other ideas coming. I love creating with you. The sessions on the site, it includes another feminine one, but this one is the bimbo take. If you're not familiar with what that means, go ahead and ask me and I'll let you know. The second one is rope bunny. The third one is denial, and that has a chastity theme. The fourth one is SPH. I don't do a lot of SPH as sessions. I confess, I do a good bit of SPH teasing in my everyday life just because it's fun. So those 4, you may notice they might have a little bit of a humiliation theme going on there. I promise that I will notice the eager ones who hop over to get them immediately. And the other one is the obedience session, and you will be having that one on here in just a little bit. You can think of it as like a sequel to the Claim Your Submission. And there is another full-length session that is on the website. It is a listening room session. The Pirate Queen, it remains a very popular listening room session. The idea behind the listening room is you have the same induction going through and the same setting of being in this really nice room with headphones on and the story or whatnot chosen and playing. I like this because I feel like we can do quite a bit of one-off sessions, and I also like that pushing the envelope happens here. So the session that is out now, it's called The Knight and the Crown. So from the safety of the listening room, let me transport you to a time long ago, a time of virtuous knights, demanding queens, and vows of chastity. This is the first time in many moons that you've stood before your queen. She knows that you're weary. She knows that you're eager to reaffirm your devotion, and you won't stay standing for long. Now that session, it does require the listening room trigger for the trance. It's also a very, very sexual session with a lot placed on service. You may have worked that out. And it does have a short reference to alcohol, just in case that's an issue. If it is, for this kind of theming, again, let me know. I don't mind having 2 different versions for something like that. Now, here we are. As I mentioned earlier, today's free session is Obedience. This session, it is a listener request, and it's like a sequel to Claim Your Submissive Role from episode 72, or around there. If you haven't listened to that one yet, you definitely don't want to miss it. You can also find it on the website. It's time for you to find a place where you are unlikely to be interrupted. I'm going to do the shorter session here on the podcast, and if you want the longer version, it is available on the website. They're just bundled together. So go ahead and take a couple deep breaths, and I want you to get ready for me to walk you through assuming that humble position. As I mentioned, this position is optional, so if you're unable to do so, don't worry, you can always try it another time. The humble position is one that shows adoration without needing you to do anything else. It would be just about the perfect position from which to beg for forgiveness, for reward, well, for almost anything. You need to be on your knees. So go ahead and take a moment, find yourself there, either in everyday life or in your imagination. On your knees and lean forward, all the way over until you can rest your forehead on the floor. You can curve your back if you can, and put your chest close to the ground. And this lowering of your head and your upper body, it's definitely accentuated by the fact that your ass is nicely raised up above the rest of you. Now put your hands out in front of you above your head, with the left hand atop the right. Keep your elbows on the ground too, and take the weight off your head, adjusting slightly to remain comfortable. because being able to hold a position like this, it's a wonderful way to show how pleasing you can be. So this is the humble position. On your knees, head to the ground, your bottom up in the air. Back is arched, your right hand on the floor and your left hand over top of it, stretching them out in front of you, above your head. You have claimed your submissive role so thoroughly. I'm proud of you. I welcome you to affirm a deeper level of obedience and make this promise to serve me. I want to obey Elspeth. 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 I need 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 to obey Elspeth. I obey Elspeth. I need to obey Elspeth. I obey Elspeth. I want to 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 obey Elspeth. I need 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 to obey Elspeth. I obey Elspeth. I need to obey Elspeth. I obey Elspeth. I want to 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 obey Elspeth. I need to obey Elspeth. I need to obey Elswith. I need to obey Elswith. I need to obey Elswith. I obey Elswith. I need to obey Elswith. I obey Elswith. I hope you enjoyed today's free session on obedience and feel wonderful. If you'd like a copy without the podcast intro, you can find that on the site in 2 different links. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all of that on the podcast because it helps both of us out. And then head over to spokenbyelswith.com to check out the new deep repetition sessions and the brand new listening room session, The Knight and the Crown.